So it's been about a week or so since the end of HCS Raleigh, and something that I find very fascinating at the debut of every competitive cycle is the wave of new talent that flows into the pro scene. In Halo 5, you saw the likes of Renegade, Lucid, Trippy all rise up to become an integral part of what we call our pro scene today. And in Halo Infinite, there's already some prospects that have really caught people's attention. That said, this is not going to be a list of the top 10 players from HCS Raleigh, but rather a select group of 10 that I felt really played above and beyond what they were expected to play, and some of these players you should really keep an eye out for the future. So starting off at number 10, I'm going to be having PorkyJ. Now if you guys are unfamiliar, PorkyJ was on the XSET roster, which was Kratos' team. Now as a team, XSET unfortunately didn't place very well, but from the few glimpses of gameplay we were able to see, I thought PorkyJ played incredibly well. His playstyle was unique, it was really intelligent, methodical, which is really rare to see in a new player, especially on a huge stage like we saw at Raleigh. For me, one of the biggest indicators of a great new player is just how well they're able to handle pressure. And throughout it all, when the going got tough, PorkyJ was able to rise to the occasion and make plays in the heat of the moment. In the past, Kratos has actually had a knack for surrounding himself with great new talent, and it's a very early call by me, but I'm going to be saying that we'll be seeing a lot more PorkyJ in the future. Coming in at number 9, I'm going to be having SLG. Now, SLG is a name you guys have probably heard of. He was making a lot of strides in the European scene all throughout Halo 5, and with him now being on Quadrant, I think honestly this is the best form we've ever seen SLG in. Lots of individual plays, just entirely changing the tides of games, so definitely keep an eye out for him in the future. Number 8 is a player who's actually made a name for himself in the offseason, and that's going to be Tylenol. Now, Tylenol and really the rest of Space Station, I felt we really didn't get to see the fullest potential of. You know, having to play with the substitute last minute, even with the player as great as Tusk, can really mess with the team dynamic, especially in the heat of the moment. But even still, Tylenol completely slayed out and actually boasted one of the highest KDs in the entire event, which is especially impressive when you look at how the rest of his team compared. He made so many incredible plays throughout the weekend, and for me has definitely stamped his place into the pro scene. For number 7, I'm going to be having Manny. Now, Manny was part of KCP, the Kansas City Pioneers, and really was just another player that I saw making play after play. Really, like all 4 of these individuals on KCP played incredibly well and really just all deserve a shout out on their own. Manny especially though, he was making moves that honestly could contest with some of the best in the game, period. I'll say it now, I think he's one of the best new slayers we have emerging into the pro scene. For number 6, we're going back to Europe. We're going to be having Shady. Now, Shady, in my opinion, is currently the best European player we have in Halo Infinite. He has an insane shot, amazing game sense, and really made a lot of noise this weekend with some incredible plays. I think he's a huge reason as to what makes this new Ascend roster so great, and it's really no surprise that this Core 3 has been so successful in the past 2 years. Top 12 is by no means the ceiling for Shady, and I have a strong feeling that we'll be seeing him a lot higher in the near future. Starting out my top 5, this is where we get to more of our well-known players. We're going to be having KingNick. Now, KingNick, of course, you know from being in the finals on E United. I think what's most impressive about him is that he's still relatively new. He started competing during Halo 5, making a big splash into the FFA scene, but you never really saw him making those same strides into the 4v4 scene. I think Ryanoob and Co. really took a chance with him heading into Infinite, and so far it's really paid off. He was easily one of the best players we had in the entire weekend. For number 4, staying with E United, we're going to be having Spartan. Now, I really think that Spartan hit a new personal high as a player over the weekend. I think it's honestly the best he's ever played, and you can really see that in his stats. He had incredible accuracy and was making play after play in such high pressure moments, which was something in the past that I feel like he really struggled with. Without a doubt, he was one of the best slayers throughout the entire weekend, and really in the entire game in general. Coming in at number number 3, it's going to be my personal tournament MVP, and that's going to be Renegade. And the only reason I don't have him as number 1 is because I feel like we all kind of expected him to play as well as he did. But even still, before the event, there were a lot of doubts that Cloud9 would even get as far as they did. You know, a lot of people expected either Optic or Sentinels to be in the finals. So for that sentiment alone, I think Renegade proved a lot of people wrong, and in my book is the best player in the game right now. Now, the second player I was most impressed with at HCS Raleigh has to be Falcot. Now, Falcot is easily the most improved player since Halo 5. I wanted to mention in a previous video just how crazy good he's gotten, because the amount of individual plays he made at Raleigh was just staggering. The evolution he's undergone to get to where he is now is super incredible, and you can really see how hard he's worked. Now with a proven LAN performance, I can safely say that Falcot is one of the best players in the game, period. And finally, the player that I was most impressed with throughout the entire weekend has to be Bound. The amounts of pressure that Bound was able to overcome with how little experience he's had is just so impressive. Before this event, no one even knew what he looked like. And to make his big in-person debut, simultaneously making his pro debut on a championship contending team like FaZe, is pressure like you could not believe. And he was absolutely thriving in it. For his first event ever, I think it's a telltale sign that he's going to be one of the best competitors we'll see in the lifetime of this game. But anyways, that about does it for my list. If there's a player you think I missed that deserves a shout out, please feel free to comment down below. I think it's a great thing to just support the new players coming into the game. With that said, I hope you guys have a happy new year, and I will see you guys next time.